Hello everybody and welcome back to your daily dose of Path of Exile 2. In today's episode we're going to be using our lightning Amazon to try to probably go after a boss today. I don't like these ones where they have a lot of extra life. It's kind of annoying. So this one only has 2 respawns, but I believe that we have nearby a boss option available. So we'll give it a shot. Worst comes to worst, we die twice and then that'll be a really short episode. Let's go ahead and get this done. Been talking a lot lately to I'm down to like 2 videos a day at the moment because I just only have 2 games where people actually watch what I'm doing. And you know, some people are getting annoyed with my attitude. And you know, I get it. It's fine. It's one of those things where like I understand people don't. If you're not a content creator, you don't understand that this isn't like something that is for fun. This is something that, you know, some of us are doing because, you know, oh yeah, that's right. He said, somebody left me a helpful comment and said that the mana doesn't go down unless you're being hit by the circle. Oh, that almost didn't go very well. Apparently, you only lose your mana when you're in the actual being touched by the ring. You can actually go inside of it, apparently, and that seems to be the case. Anyways, so you know, I have promised myself that I'm not going to pretend to be something that I'm not, and that means that, you know, if I'm in a bad mood, you guys are gonna get my bad mood. It's just the way that it goes. And lately, I've been in kind of a bad mood because, you know, I'm kind of stuck playing certain games. This is one of them. I mean, I don't know. I don't necessarily mind this one because I can do a map really quickly and it's pretty short, and you know, I don't have to sit there and commit to, you know, X amount of time. Hold on, I gotta focus here for a second because we're having a hard time building up our. There we go. There we go. Nice. All right. Excuse me. I don't necessarily... Like, I've gotten this one to the point where we mostly just go through and it's like 10 minutes of running through a map, and it's pretty routine. Every once in a while, something stupid happens, and it kind of gets on my nerves. But for the most part, we're able to just kind of get through this. My Elite Dangerous stuff... I don't know. I've been burned out on Elite Dangerous for a while, but the problem with content creation is that there's so many people who are just fixated on the game that you're playing or the particular content that you're making. They're less interested in you as a content creator and more interested in the subject that you're covering. And because YouTube doesn't really go out of its way to, you know, adjust its algorithm to focus on people rather than subjects, we as content creators just get stuck doing, we get shoehorned into one specific thing. And you know, if you're like me and you're easily bored and you want to be able to do a bunch of other stuff, then it really sucks that you end up getting forced into doing, you know, one specific thing over and over and over and over again because nobody wants to follow you to go do something else, right? And it's like I've said since the beginning that, you know, I'm trying to build a channel of people who are interested in, you know, me as a person and me as a content creator, not necessarily whatever game I happen to be playing. But YouTube is just not conducive to helping you find the people who would be interested in you. They're just trying to sell ad revenue, and the easiest way to do that is to offer you a subject that you're interested in and hope that the content creator presents it well enough, and then you join. Like, I've had people specifically leave me angry comments because I'm posting other games on my channel, and it's like, are you out of your mind? Like, no, I'm not here to be only Elite Dangerous or only Path of Exile or only any of that stuff. That is boring. And if you only care about one game, like, I have a lesser opinion of you. I'm sorry, I just do. If the only thing you care about is, if you're so obsessed with one game that you can't look at anything else, like, that's a problem. That's some serious obsessive something. I don't know. So, you know, I get bored. I just do. I get bored. I get bored with games. I eventually get tired of them. I don't want to play them anymore. But unfortunately, content creation right now is my only kind of option. You know, my opportunities over the last several years have just been pretty non-existent. So this is what I'm doing, because I'm trying to build something. I'm trying to do something productive with my time. Content creation is the only option I've been able to find so far, and it is what it is, right? Like, you do what you got to do. You do what's available to you. So, you know, I'm going to say all this again in my elite stuff, because I know that most people who watch this don't watch the other video. So I'm going to have to say all of this again in the next video. You know, I do my best to be as positive as I can be, but I'm also not going to pretend to be something that I'm not. And, you know, I'm not a super positive guy, especially when, you know, when I see something happening that I think is kind of dumb. And there's a lot of things in the video games that I play that are kind of dumb, and it irritates me. And, you know, who wants to deal with stupid things in a game that's supposed to be fun? And these things that happen in these games are because they're because people, you know, the people who made the game made a decision about something, and it was, at least as far as I'm concerned, the wrong decision. So, you know, the unfortunate reality of the way content creation is that it's not fun in games. Like, if you're a content creator and you're not just doing it as a side thing where you're just doing it for fun, and you don't care, you know, if you're not doing it in a way where you don't care about growing a channel, you're just posting stuff because it's fun for you to post it, then yeah, you get to do what you want. You can switch games and there's no consequences to you, because, you know, you don't care about an audience anyway. You don't care about growing subscribers, or I don't really care about growing subscribers. You don't care about watch time. You don't care about, you know, dollars coming in. Like, you know, I'm a paid channel. I'm not making that much. I'm making hardly anything at all, but it's better to make a little bit. It's better to make a little bit than nothing at all, right? And so, you know, if you're a content creator who is trying to make a business out of it, then unfortunately you get forced into making content that isn't necessarily what you would prefer to be doing. And if that's the case, then, you know, you suck it up and do it. But that doesn't mean, but again, you know, like I've said, I'm trying to be, I don't want to pretend to be something that I'm not. So, you know, for the most part, I don't think most of my videos have a bunch of complaining. Well, I don't know. I'll complain about a video game anytime I see something I think is stupid. So that's one thing. But as far as like me bemoaning my career, you know, my very low level career as a YouTuber, I try not to do that very much, because that's not your guys' problem. That's just the way YouTube is. So, but when people start saying, well, it doesn't seem like you're having fun, and it's like, well, you know, you can only have so much fun doing something that you don't really want to be doing. This is far better. Like, doing this kind of stuff is far better than sitting in an office all day doing a bunch of boring admin work, right? Like, I can appreciate it to that extent, but it's still, you know, I still have to do things I don't particularly want to be doing. I still have to do things that make me bored out of my mind sometimes. Like, you know, going through and doing these maps isn't exactly the most stimulating thing in the world after you've done them several hundred times, right? Like, I know some people are just fine losing themselves in the grind of it, and that's fine. Like, I don't have anything negative to say about that. But it is boring, and, you know, when you have to try to turn something that is inherently boring into something that's interesting, you know, and that requires some effort. And if you're having to put a bunch of effort into something that you're not necessarily the most interested in, then, you know, that, yeah, it's work. It's work. People think that content creation is just like this dream job, and it's like, no, if you want to actually like do something and get anywhere with it, you're gonna have to do a bunch of stuff you don't want to do. I'm not talking about compromising your values or anything. I'm just saying, you know, like right now, I'm playing Path of Exile. You know, I'd rather be playing something else, but I don't have an audience for something else. And if I don't play this, I'm not going to get enough views, and I'm not going to get enough watch time to sustain the very minimal income that I'm getting right now. That's just the way YouTube works. Like, I don't know. I try to address certain comments. I don't really troll my comment section. I made a video recently talking about how, for the most part, I don't read comments. But somebody left a comment on one of my posts talking about how I try to rush through things, trying to hurry up and get it done. There's a couple of reasons for that. Obviously, you know, first and foremost, this is a job to me. This is not This is not just all for fun, right? Like, I have to make this content. I have to make Path of Exile 2 content, because right now, Elite Dangerous and Path of Exile 2 content are the only content that actually makes me any money at all. So if I don't sit down and do a video every day, then my revenue goes down, and that's just the way it is. Like, I'm not necessarily whining about that, because, you know, well, there's always that. I'm not necessarily whining about that part. I'm just saying that, you know, you got to do what you got to do. And sometimes when you're doing things that you just got to get done, you set aside the let's make this fun part, and you're just like, let's get this done so I can move on to the next thing. So, you know, because we got stuff to do. I have things to get done. And then there's also just the fact that, you know, these are YouTube videos. I can't sit here and have hour-long videos and expect most people to watch them. I have to make my videos in a format that's consumable by as many people as possible. And most people aren't interested in 45-minute to an hour-long videos, right? Like, there has to be a certain amount of effort to benefit ratio, right? If I spend an hour out of my time making a video, if I just did maps for an hour, right? People are going to watch the first 10 minutes of that, and they're going to click off the videos. And then the other 50 minutes of the time that I put in to recording all of this stuff is just wasted time. Like, why would I do that? So I do one map. I do one map every day and hope that enough people end up watching most of that video that I'm able to get some ad revenue out of it. And that's just the way that it goes. And it's the same thing for my Elite Dangerous content. I do missions over there. I select a very minimal number of missions so that I can get it done within the space of like 30 minutes. And then hopefully enough people watch it that I get some ad revenue out of it. So when I approach my YouTube channel as a business first, right? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to approach it as a business first. I'm trying to find content that people actually want to watch, and I'm trying to find content that draws in audiences and draws in views. And when I'm stuck in one or two games and I can't really rotate through anything to, you know, have a bigger audience, then this is what we get. We get the same videos every day. I get bored out of my mind, and we just kind of get into a rut of let's just get this video out so we can move on. It's just the way it works. It's just until I can find a format for my channel that allows me to do variety, and then people still watch because they're following me rather than the game. You know, I mean, that's not the audience's fault. It's sort of my fault, and it's a lot of YouTube's fault, because if we had a system where YouTube would actually, you know, focus on trying to figure out who I am as a content creator and then link my channel up with people who like my style of content creation, right? I'm sure there's a sufficient number of people out there who like the way I present things, who would watch me play anything because they like the way I play, and they like the way I approach things, and they like the way I think about things, right? But we don't have that as far as the way things go. Everything is divided up into subjects. So you as a PoE player, there's all kinds of Path of Exile 2 players. There are so many different kinds of Path of Exile 2 players, and I only get to grab a small slice out of that. And then everyone else is going to be like, I don't like this guy. I'm going to go find somebody else who plays the game the way I want to see it played, right? And when you're like me, like if I was obsessive about Path of Exile 2, if it was the only game I wanted to play, I could probably build an audience relatively quickly, but I'm not. I like to play different things. I get bored with games. I want to set it aside for a while and then come back later. But if I do that, my channel falls off a cliff, and that's just the way it works. Like, there is no workaround for that. That's just the way it works. And so if you want to build a business on YouTube, you have to be consistent with your uploads. You have to be consistent with what you do. And you have to go after the content that actually gets views. And that's just the way it is. So if you find yourself watching content creators like me, and you see us getting a little bit, even if I'm not frustrated, if you see me getting a little bit kind of zoned out and we're just trying to get through the content, it's because, you know, that we're stuck in this vicious hamster wheel. It's the same as regular work. There's like people think YouTube is going like they want. There's people who have dreams about getting into YouTube, and they want it to be this thing where it's like, wow, it's glamorous and cool, and you get to work from home and you get to do all this stuff, and it's like, yeah, but it's still a job. It is still a job, and if you don't think it's a job, then you haven't really tried to do it yet. It's how it works. And, you know, I'm still at the point where I'm only getting paid every couple of months and very little at that. I'm doing all of this and I'm getting very little back out of it as far as an actual return on the investment time. If I had something else I could be doing, I would be doing it. But circumstances just are not lining up in a way that allows me to try anything else. So I'm not just going to sit around and do nothing all day. I'm going to try to do something. And I'm doing this. So hopefully that makes sense. I know some of you just aren't going to like the messages that I have. You have this thought in your head about the way you think things should be, about the way you think content creators should be. And anybody who does anything outside of that, you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's fine. Go watch somebody else. I said in my comments video that I don't care if you like the video. I only care that you watch the video. And if you have some kind of morbid fascination with watching somebody complain about a game, hey, that's watch time and it's dollars in my pocket. I can't complain about that. So thanks for watching. Unfortunately, we didn't finish that map, but it is what it is. Be sure to come back for the next video, hit the like button, subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers, join as a member for early access to videos, among other perks, or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with that thanks button. I also have PayPal and Patreon links for those of you who prefer to contribute in that manner. So again, thanks for watching. Be sure to come back for the next video, and I'll see you then.